You're on the podcast with Dino and Ashley. Did you see how I took it a note higher?
I can't follow that.
You want to try again? I could go lower.
No.
You're on the podcast with...
Let's not do that.
I have to surprise you somehow.
I know. You're constantly surprising me. I think that's actually one of the beautiful parts about like being married to you is that every day is a little different, you know?
Same.
I'm consistent. I'm very simple.
Yeah. Oh, you had a fun hot track this morning.
I forget what it was. I told you to write it down.
I did write it down. It's in my phone, which is recording. It's right there. But I remember...
Just remind me of the general topic.
No, I remember. You said that it was... You wanted to flex the muscle of the skill of apologizing.
Yeah, I had done something stupid this morning. I don't even think it was very consequential. It was like something flippant that I had to apologize for. And I was like, hey, you know what? I just want you to know that was not cool. And I'm really sorry.
I clearly don't remember either what it was. It was dumb.
Anyways, but I think that it kind of like got me thinking when we were on our walk this morning. And I was thinking about, man, that is a skill set that I've definitely had to hone. And I'm still very much honing. It's not one that comes naturally for me at all, is to say, hey, I want to genuinely apologize. And I think that there's an art to, wore the wrong tank top if it's audio only, people.
The nip was out for Dino.
I just reached over and I thought she was going to grab my hand and or touch my leg or something. And it went straight for my stringer tank top.
Right, that camera.
And got that nipple hidden.
Oh, man. Okay, sorry.
All right, number one, it's hot in Florida right now. Really hot. And I don't like wearing much of anything if I had my choice.
Dino got a bunch of tank top or a bunch of t-shirts and then bought this fancy t-shirt cutter.
I really need to show this
thing.
And
instead of just cutting them like normal tank tops, on some of them, he went a little too stringery.
I got electric fabric shears or something, and so I just rip through there's t-shirts now.
But the first couple, you were like, you went real low and real in. It just basically went in, and it was just nipples.
Mistakes were made, but also
you feel good. The breeze is really
delightful. It's like one of those scenarios where they're like, oh sir, you have to wear a shirt in here, and then you put that on. It's like not really a shirt. It's just like a bib. But I'm quote unquote wearing a shirt now.
It counts.
Anyways, back to the apology thing. I'm working on that skill set. And I thought it'd be really nice just to share what I'm currently going through on my side, because it's not natural or easy for us to build a skill set in any area like that. Like nobody's going to be like, oh man, I'm just so good at saying sorry to somebody, especially your spouse, and be like, hey, this is an area that I've made mistakes in, or hey, I'm hearing things that you're saying to me and want to acknowledge that and then also apologize for it and then take steps in action towards fixing it.
Yeah. It's like one of the simplest things to do, and then like will make the problems go away usually. And yet it's so hard. Yeah. I remember we would get in like a fight in the middle of the night or something like that, or like late at night, and you're just like sitting in bed and you're like, oh, I just want to like touch him and just be done with this, but I don't want to touch him first,
Like you would win some
reward.
It's
so stupid. And then once I do, I'm like, oh,
I know.
Good. Can we just be done? I just don't like.
I hated being separated from. I hate being separated from you. I hate having any of the conflict going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's literally just a quickie that I wanted to mention on. It's not the topic of the podcast, but I just wanted to encourage you, if you need to apologize to your spouse for something, go to them, apologize, and try and do it in a way that's actually trying to flex that muscle on yourself, because it is absolutely a skill set. It's something that you need to be practicing, in my opinion, on the regular. As often as you are wrong, you should be apologizing. And I think that there's an insane amount of fruit from it as well. Because
and you were saying earlier that your children are watching.
That's the other one, is that your kids mimic your behavior. And when I've actually made it a point of ensuring that if I've screwed up in front of the kids, that I apologize to you in front of the kids. So the kids can see both the mistake and me coming and being like, hey, dad made a mistake and screwed up on this, but he's not too big to then come back and say, hey, I made a mistake. So I'm actually really trying hard on this one to be I want it to be a skill set of mine. It's a discipline. And with all the things, when it comes to working out or being better at something or in an area that God's challenging you on, you have to be disciplined in it. You have to be intentional. You don't just automatically get a skill set without applying, a lot of energy in being good at that thing. God helps you do that, but you have to be taking steps and making forward progress on something for it to actually be impactful.
Yeah.
But now on to the fun things.
Okay. Well, this week we thought we would do the Pancake Challenge. And if you have followed us online or you've read our book, then you've heard of what this is. But this is a really fun thing. We felt like the last one was very serious. Well, the last couple were kind of more serious too. We're like, we need to throw a fun one in there.
Yeah, the serious ones it was funny. We actually got feedback from somebody who watched the podcast and they're like, yeah, it was really good. And then it got really heavy all of a sudden.
No, they didn't say it in a negative way. They're like, no, the first one, you guys were so fun. And then, it got really serious. Yeah. And I was like, oh, well, we were talking about sin. And,
I mean, there's prerequisites. You want goals for your spouse and goals for your marriage. And then you want to go and clear out the garbage. So anyways, that was the context on that one. But this one's fun. All right. So the context on this one is that it was 4 years ago.
Yes. So if you followed along at the first podcast, the first 8 years of our marriage was kind of just like this, I don't know, living parallel lives. Like, we loved each other, but we were just doing life-ish. And then after that, moved into the trailer. Then we were there for 17 months, then moved into the Spanish bungalow in Northern California because Dino got a job up there. And so we moved up there. And it was in that house that we started this. So we were just starting to live life to the fullest in our walks with the Lord and in our marriage and in everything. And we came up with this idea. I think you came up with it.
I did, because it was Christmas time.
Yeah.
That was kind of the context on it, was that we came into Christmas time and I was like, I don't want to get another present for you. And I really don't want any presents from you. I'm very simple. I don't need a whole lot of stuff. So I said, hey, what about instead of doing gifts for one another, in the beginning of December, or I don't know, it was one of the early weeks in December, we said, I will, for the whole week, I will, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I will anticipate everything that you want to eat. So you wake up in the morning, I'm going to already try and have something above and beyond that I know that you would like. And the reason why I did food was because that's how you felt very, very loved. You loved that to get fed.
Yeah. Social eater. I just want to go sit at a bakery and, but I want to do it with Dino. I don't want to just go alone. I want to eat and I want to watch him eat with me.
Which is so funny. If I ever, we talked about this at length. I'm very much into eating correctly and physical discipline and stuff. So I will frequently go through phases where I'll try
and
a
dark time in our marriage when Dino is on a diet. So I'm like, you hate me. You don't love life and you don't want to do anything fun.
Why does it immediately go so personal, right? It's like I'm intentional personal offense. Yeah.
Anyways, food was my love language at the time.
Yeah.
And then Dino's was personal touch. Well, is personal physical. Yeah. Personal touch.
Personal touch. I don't even know what that is, but
your little twist on things, So it was a week of this, and I also was supposed to do the same thing with him. Just, think about everything he would want or need, touching him all the time, rubbing him, massaging him, all the things. And so we did that for a week. I was very filled by this.
I enjoyed it.
It was amazing, but we have grown through it. But during that first week, we definitely found all the flaws within ourselves, all the ways that we were just the worst people.
It was awesome and challenging. There's learnings from both sides, let's just say, for sure.
So what ended up happening is Dino was so amazing. He made me I just would open a cookbook and he would buy all the stuff and make all the things. Just every second, appetizers and desserts, and it was incredible. And I would be physical, I would touch him a little bit, or and we'd have sex in the evening. And
all right, but we missed the pancake part. The reason why we called it the Pancake Challenge was because I said, hey, here's the deal. We'll call it Pancake Challenge because anytime you want pancakes, whether it's early in the morning, dinner, that for some reason at that moment during that time you were really into pancakes, I think. But It's not like you are upset with pancakes or something. But the joke was, in the middle of the night, you want pancakes? I'll get you pancakes. But if daddy wants pancakes in the middle of the night.
That's why if you go back to the old days on Instagram, there's so many pancakes with like emojis with fire and flames by it because everyone knows what it is.
Yeah.
Like, oh, pancakes.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. The pancake emoji became a little loaded.
Yes. Oh, so I was finishing what I was saying. So we went through that week and Dino was amazing. And I did some of the stuff. I did what I thought, I was like checking a box more. And I was like, oh, well, I'm being physical. But I wasn't, really soaking it in at the same level that he was. And after the week, we talked with each other and I'm like, well, that was amazing. He's like, that sucked.
I didn't say it sucked. I'm like, that was fun. But I feel like the efforts between the two were maybe a little bit different. But if I'm being honest, because all right, so we talked about your falls or flaws in the thing, but I had a major one too, a really big one. And there's a big trap in this because what happens is anytime it's, hey, if you do that, you do this and I'll do this and it'll be fun for both of us. It ends up being aspects of it, whether you like it or not, a quid pro quo, which is this for that.
Yes.
Meaning,
and that's what it ended up
doing something with the hopes that I also get something back in return.
Nobody wants to be served in that way when they feel like the person serving them just wants something back. It has to be a selfless act. That is
genuine.
Yeah. We did not get that at first. And that took some flexing and practicing.
It's tough because anytime you're going to do something like this, which we recommend, this is fun. This ends up becoming a fun game because it allows you to work on yourself in areas of hey, I want to give without expecting anything in return. And it's always fun to get something and it's fun to serve your spouse. There's aspects of it that were really good and my heart was good, but there was also aspects that were bad. So mostly I fell in love with serving you and the joy that came out of it. Fully confessing here, I was trying to get something out of it at the same time. And there was aspects of it, especially in deciding to do the whole thing, that I was like, hey, this will be real fun because I'll get something out of this at the same time that I want to do with you. But I totally fell in love with cooking because of this.
Yeah, you did.
I wasn't cooking much at all.
That was just an extra bonus. But the point and the goal of the pancake challenge is to love serving your spouse. That is the point of it. But in order to do that, you have to have grace for your partner. You have to have a selfless heart, which definitely took us some practice doing.
Yes.
But then what's so cool about it, then it creates this upward spiral in your marriage of that, oh my goodness, when I do this for Dino, he feels so filled up and so loved that it just naturally overflows to me wanting to do the same thing to him. I mean, we're just creating this positive behavior within our marriage. Even if one is falling behind, like one of us was me. Well, we were both falling behind for different reasons. Like I was being selfish in one way, just by not.
You do a rub of the foot.
Yeah, it's a good massage. Yeah, okay. You like it. It's good. Yeah. And then you were just like, I want more,
It's true.
No, totally. But we both were wrong in that. And it took us some time. I mean, even still, we still go through that a little bit. But I feel like it has become a muscle, again, that we've had to flex over the years. But now we get so excited about serving each other. And that's what our days look like, is just serving each other, because there's so much joy from that. And when we die to ourselves and serve other people, that's when we find real joy.
To me, this is where I fell new level, next level in love with you.
Yeah.
Man, this is so much fun. I get to make her this thing, and I know she's going to love this. I know she's going to love this thing. And it just built this bond.
Yeah.
And that then caused me to die to my own needs and my own desires. That became even more fulfilling. When you love her the way she wants to be loved, you actually get more fulfilled out of it. And I always have aspects of it where I get not depressed, but I get down or I get disinterested. And this is mostly talking about the early phases of our relationship. After this moment where I started to realize the importance and the benefits of what I get from just serving, not getting anything, just serving, everything changed for me.
Well, you value what you invest in.
Ooh. Ooh, that's a good saying.
I made it up. No, Dino said that to me earlier when I was thinking about something, so it was in my head. But it's so true. You value what you invest in, and we both started to put each other as a higher value than ourselves.
Yeah. And think about all that effort and the time. It means that you are important. That means that in my mind, I'm reinforcing. I spend so much time on this. I spend so much energy thinking about what it is that she might want for me to make for her for food. And food is just one example. There's a whole love language thing. I've since tried to see what I can do in all the areas, not just food, because there's so much to gain from finding the areas that I know that you love and investing in those things.
I've also changed into 10 different people since then, and my love language has changed. Yeah. I love food still, but I feel like it's evolved, and we have evolved with that, just constantly learning and rediscovering how to serve one another. But it's also biblical. It says, pick up your cross and follow me. Deny yourself. Yeah. So it's living our life the way we should be for the Lord, also mirroring that within our marriages.
Yep. It was really that you nailed it spot on. It says biblically, my role as a husband is husbands love your wives like Christ loved the church, and Christ died for us. And if you look at how he treated his disciples and those around him, he'd wash their feet. He would take care of them better than he would take care of himself, kind of thing. To wash someone's feet, that's like the grossest thing that you can basically do. And to say, hey, I value you and your feet so much that I'm going to take care of you. If you apply a similar mentality with your spouse and say, hey, what are the areas that they need? What do they want? How can I just wash their feet? How can I make them feel their needs are so important that I'm going to forfeit my own desires, my own interests right now, my time right now, and I'm going to invest in you. Not because I'm trying to get something out of it, just because this is an area that I know that is important to you. So I'd say the pancake challenge was important, but that's really what you're sparking is you're saying, the thing that I value the most from you right now in this moment, the thing that I'm needing from you is I want physical connection. And you were basically saying, the thing that I value from you in this moment, this time in our marriage, was I need you to serve me and enjoy things with me.
I need you to eat cake with me.
Right? So if that was the thing that you needed the most, and especially back then, that was what you needed. I think you need a lot less of that, almost none of that now in comparison, because like you said, you've changed. But the reason why is because there was a deficiency in what I was basically giving to you. So it was really an opportunity for you and I to stop, have a counseling session of sorts where you said, I just want you to serve me and take care of me. Think about the things that I would want. And when I did that and just focused on that, I got to see.
And without grumbling.
Yeah, well, absolutely. If there's bad intention or grumbling behind doing it, it's negated. You might as well not even doing it. It doesn't do any good. Definitely don't do this if you're going to be grumbling, having a bad attitude about it, or one of you is basically like, fine, I'll do it, but I'm not really interested in
I've totally done that. And then you said to me, you're like, listen, if you're going to do the thing that you're gonna do like this, I don't even want it. It's not fun. Well, like I just said at the beginning, who wants to be served in that way? It's awful, and it makes you feel awful. And the point is to do it joyfully. It goes back also to the upward spiral. The thoughts control your words, control your actions, and by continually serving your spouse, you're focusing on things that are good about them and positive, and like how you can find the things that they love, and it creates again that upward spiral of the thoughts, and then that's going to overflow into the words, and then that's going to overflow into the actions.
You have to meditate on your spouse in a positive way while you're doing it. I'm cooking you food, and the whole time I'm like, oh man, Ashley's gonna love this. I love her. Oh, man, what did she did this wonderful thing for me. Like the thoughts that I had were meditating on the positive attributes of you and the way that I loved you, and when you do that, it's not just in your spouse, it's in yourself that you gain the benefit from it.
Both people agree to do this, but one person is just not going along with it and not doing well. What would you say is the best?
I still think this is a really fun challenge. It's one that I challenge the guys that I'm trying to disciple. There's 2 guys right now that I'm talking to, and one of them, I'm like, I know that you are not going on dates with your wife. I know that you're not, and they come to me grumbling, not all the time, but I'm just saying, giving a couple examples of a couple of guys. They come to me and they say, hey, my wife, this is this and this and this. I'm like, what are you doing with them? What are you prioritizing them? What are the things that your wife needs from you right now that you either know that you should be doing and you're not, or take a minute and take a beat and try and understand, what are they trying to communicate to you? I need help with the kids and you're not doing it. Or what are the areas that they don't even know about themselves that they might need that you could go and fill up? I have very little focus on what I'm going to be getting from you. And that's mostly because, if I'm being fair, you fill me up very, very much. Like, I don't have much to complain about. At the same time, I'm going to encourage the men to not have any focus at all. And I mean, women too, serve your spouse, try and figure out the areas that you can serve your spouse in that will just blow their mind. Try and find the specific areas in your spouse that you can put an investment into and see what happens.
Yeah. We get so focused on self and we say, yes, I'm going to do this and I'm going to go after these things. And it's like 2 days of doing it or a week of doing it. And then the spouse is not responding. And you're like, forget it. We can't do this on our own strength. We need the Lord to help us with that, because we're weak and we're selfish and we're prideful and we need Him to help us with that sort of thing. I can't do this without you, Lord. I want to serve my husband. I want to love him. Help me have, the desire for him, to serve him, to love him. And also, I feel like going to the Lord, I think I've mentioned this before, but it takes such a pressure off of us too. We don't need to carry that burden and also be the other person's parent, trying to correct them and nag them and teach them. We can go to them, communicate to them, but then just give it to the Lord and then just keep doing and being obedient to what God calls us individually to do and stop focusing on the other person and their actions.
Yep. I'm going to take something you said and go one step further. You said you can't, or you should go to the Lord and ask Him to change your heart while doing this. I actually don't think that you're going to get any meaningful change at all, aside from going to God and begging Him to change who you are through this.
Yes.
Because if you go do this with your spouse and you don't depend on the Lord and you just beast through for 7 days, you can do it.
You'd be exhausted and annoyed with that person.
Yep.
That's what we did, because we didn't pray about it before.
Exactly. And then at the outset of that, you're going to go right back to who you were. People don't change. I firmly believe this. People don't change. I don't change. God changes me. Yeah. That's possible. But me in and of myself, I will be who I am. And who I am at my core is a very awful, selfish human being. Like, I'm narcissistic and it's not good. But I firmly believe I am not the man who I was 6-7 years ago when we started this. And I feel like God is continually changing who I am. But only when I go and submit myself to Him and say, hey, I need you to change me. And at the same time, I'm going to be taking actionable steps as I go through this. You can't sit idle and say, hey, I want to love my wife. I want to serve my wife. I want the benefits of a marriage. When I serve my spouse, they feel loved. And you can't go and do that and then not be actionable. You have to put action into it, and you have to go and beg the Lord to change who you are and give you His heart in doing it.
Yeah.
I think that it's something that we've done week after week after week for the last 6 years.
Our whole life is the Pancake Challenge.
Yeah. Find the areas that make your spouse feel super loved, and then mash that button as hard as you can.
What is the negative from that? What are we so afraid of to do that? Because I just feel like we talk with so many people and they just make excuses. And what it really comes down to is that it goes back to everyone's selfish. We're all so selfish. Well, she wants more time with me, but I got to get my gym time in, 2 times a day, or I got to go at nighttime, but she really wants me to hang out in the evenings. It's like, well, maybe don't go to the gym in the evenings. I could never do that. But our relationship is hurting, or whatever it is. It's like there are certain things that we just cannot let go of because they're ours.
Yep.
Or because it's mine. It's my time and it's my freedom. It's just so, yeah. But you're living just in like this underworld that you haven't even come out of the water to really breathe air for reals. Like you are missing out on life. Yeah. And life with your spouse.
You making sure that you have your time, your things, your stuff, your life.
Yeah.
When you hold on to that and don't offer up a compromise with your spouse on it, you are being buried by that. You're missing out on the opportunity of saying, all right, I will give up aspects of who I am and the goal would be you do as well. And look what new things then we get to unlock together. You're giving $1 and getting 10 out of it. You've constantly said this. What if my spouse won't reciprocate? Or what if I want to do this, but my spouse doesn't? Or what if I'm constantly doing this, but my spouse doesn't? I would still say, so what? There's still so much benefit. I don't think anybody in their marriage has been like, hey, I gave a year of just trying to fill them up. And
well, I have had like people say stuff like that, like, oh, I just, I can't give any more of myself. I can't do any more. They're not doing anything. They don't want to try. I can't give any more. So what would you say to that?
Yeah, there's a Bible verse that says that's talking about two people that are in two Christian brothers that are in conflict with one another. They were like they're suing each other. And Paul says, why not rather be wronged, right? And it's not exactly the same context, but the premise still makes sense. Why not rather be wronged in that type of scenario? Why not just give and get nothing? That's ultimately the Christ-like.
Picking up your cross and denying yourself.
He gives us everything and we give nothing. We can give him nothing. Again, my role as a husband is husbands, love your wives like Christ loved the church. That's an unconditional love. Yeah. It's not when you are reciprocating, do I give?
Right.
It's just I give and give and give. And as long as I'm tapping into the source of the one who gives everything to me out of abundance with nothing, no condition, then I should be able to continue to reciprocate that to you.
Yeah.
And gain all the benefits of being tapped into the Holy Spirit, being tapped into God by begging him to change who I am through that giving. I think there's just so much to be gained in serving your spouse in the specific way that they need to be served by you.
That's a true disciple of Jesus Christ, is us dying to ourselves. But that takes a discipline to be able to flex those muscles of practicing that, and something that we have to do every single day.
Yep.
Is say, I'm going to serve somebody else besides myself.
Absolutely. It goes back to the apologizing thing. This is a discipline. It is absolutely a muscle that has to be developed. And the more you develop it, the stronger you are. The bigger that muscle gets, the easier it is.
And then the benefits of it are so amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The depth of intimacy, that's another like layer of a depth of intimacy, is finding everything that your spouse loves and enjoying every aspect and every corner of who they are, because you've learned to serve every corner of who they are. Mm. And so you get just so much deeper with them.
Yeah.
And that's the benefit of the Pancake Challenge.
Yep. Well, you said something right there. I want you to unpack that, because you and I talk about it a bunch. I want you to just give your description of what it means to have a depth of intimacy.
This closeness that you, like we've talked about before, that you are one organism. You're still yourself. We have our own personalities. We have our own likes and dislikes, and we have our own day-to-day things, but we are just drawn back to each other because we love what God's doing in our lives together. We thought we were in love and so close, 10 years ago, even last year. And we're like, oh, I didn't even love you last year. It was like not even a real thing. It's so much more now. But it's because we've done things and taken these steps and continue to die to ourselves and deny ourselves, continue to seek after the Lord and how he wants us to live within our marriages.
I'm going to show you exactly who I am.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hide anything from you. Let you see the awful, wicked, terrible things of who I am. And you're going to say, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And vice versa, right? You're going to show me every wicked, awful thing that you are.
That's a great example.
And I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then the closeness that you gain from that type of desire to say, hey, we're in this together. Doesn't matter what comes at us. It's us. It's you and me. That is saying that to me, that's like a depth of intimacy and the closeness that comes from that.
Yeah.
I see the needs that you have. I'm not going to judge you for them, and I'm not going to ignore them. I'm going to give them to you. I'm going to do everything I can to give you the things that you need from me.
Which makes me feel validated, heard, loved.
And then how much more do you then want to bear your soul to me?
Yeah.
because I love you despite all the things that you've shown me. And you still then, I still then want you. I want to serve you. I want to give you my energy, my effort, my thoughts, I want to give that to you, back to you.
If you're listening to this alone and you have a spouse at home, definitely bring the idea with them, like to them, and see if you guys can do it together. Because it can be very fun. It should be fun and hopefully challenging as well. If they're like, nah, then try doing it alone and see what happens.
Yeah. And the fun one on this is the goal is to do the thing that you know that they want. So either ask or definitively no. Don't go and be like, hey, I made you breakfast every day for a week. And they're like, I don't even care about that.
I don't eat breakfast.
That doesn't move the needle. That
Totally.
doesn't make me feel more loved. What I actually need is for you just to sit with me and let me like talk about my day and how awful it was. Or what I really need is for you to do dishes and help with kids. Go to your spouse and be like, hey, if I was going to just to bless you beyond belief for a week, the equivalent of a Christmas present level serving of you, what would I do? Would it be time with you? Would it be making things for you, or buying you gifts, or cooking for you, or physically serving you? Whatever it is, just try and ask your spouse.
And if you don't know either, or if they don't know, pray together.
Or do what I did, do all the things.
Yeah, that works too.
Once food stopped working, I was like, I'm literally going to do everything that I possibly can and see what actually moved. What was funny is there was a bunch of times when I was doing it back in the day and I wouldn't tell you. All of a sudden I would try some new tactic and I would leave a note for her and it would just like, she'd cry or something like that. I'm like, holy cow, just a word of affirmation. You're beautiful. I love you. I'm praying for you today and I hope your day is awesome and I'll see you tonight. Kind of like something small like that. And you lost your mind.
I know I did. It was really sweet.
So
excited for you guys.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
It's not easy. It's challenging.
I know. It's going to be awesome.
Because it's a changing your behavior and modifying your behavior is not easy.
But it's also a change in your marriage. If you want to change your marriage, let's go.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, Eric even said it last night when we were hanging out. He was like, if you want to live an extreme life, you have to live in the extremes.
Make changes.
Yeah, you have to make extreme changes in your life to get into a state where you're extreme.
Yeah.
If you want an amazing marriage, you have to invest in it. You can't just do that passively.
Rock on.
All right, let's go.
Backward. No. All right, that was a good one.
All right.